'cause I'm the one you can't hold down. Now I got my eyes on the crowd, and this is why I just know this time I won't wait. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. It's just my lion.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Not Just a Cleaning Lady show with myself and my husband, Kevin. We are streaming from Northeast Texas this morning. And we have a wonderful guest with us today, Rosie Young, and she is the founder of Hocus Pocus Cleaning Services in Lehigh, Pennsylvania. So I know we have some exciting topics today. Rosie has been in the mental health field in the past, and she really sees the correlation there with having a cleaning service and implementing that into her cleaning service. So I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited too about this conversation, with the American House Cleaners Association, the Professional Cleaning Provider course. Part of the AHCA mission has been, of course, a big part of it is to educate the public on, cleaning has always been seen as a luxury by most people, even cleaning providers themselves. And the AHCA over the last few years has come in and said, hey guys, cleaning is a necessity. And not only, is it necessary, right, for our physical health, but the mental health and the emotional health is, you could argue just as important or even more important, right? Because when we're mentally unhealthy, stress, what does that do? It causes hypertension, causes, our blood pressure to go up and everything, which then affects our physical health. And so at any rate, Rosie, good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today on the Not Just a Cleaning Lady podcast show. Jump on in and introduce yourself. Tell us about where you're from, a little bit about your business, and then your journey into the cleaning industry and why you chose the cleaning industry for your business.
That's a mouthful. So I'm Rosie. I started Hocus Pocus Cleaning in 2016 as a college student. Quick background, I dropped out of college when I was 17 because I was going to be an art teacher, and it turned out that I just like to sit in my friends' basements and paint. So it wasn't really something that I could see as sustainable. So I went back to college after having kids, and I was serving tables and having children and then going to school full time during the day. There was really no flexibility with being able to be a mom to my kids. So, my ex, owned a painting contracting company. And the few times that I went in and peeled paint off the floors or dusted a few shelves or whatever, I considered that enough experience to, file an LLC and open a business. And residential cleaning is a lot more than just dusting shelves and peeling paint off the floor. So essentially back in 2016, 2017-ish, nobody was happy with the work we did. I had to grow some really thick skin over the course of that first year in business because I really had no idea what I was doing. So luckily, being somebody that likes to, take into consideration these types of things, I learned from each of these experiences and used it to really look into what the clients are looking for on a residential basis. COVID hit in 2020. We were in business for almost 4 years at that point, and I think we had 15 houses in March 2020. And then by that August, when we were allowed to operate again, we were at 65-ish. And at that point, I had already finished grad school. I passed my licensed social worker state board exam so I could practice mental health therapy privately, which was the goal. I planned on closing Hocus Pocus Cleaning once that was completed. And then, seeing that growth over that summer, it kind of put me in this position where I'm like, does it make sense to walk away from this at this point? At this point, we kind of really understand what the clients are looking for. And ever since then, it's really been a focus on the team and, employee retention and what can we do to keep these technicians here and happy. Because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but, when you're first starting out and you're a solo cleaner, you know that you're able to basically take that money home. Um, these technicians were only making, $12 an hour, $15 an hour. And in our area, I'm in the Lehigh Valley, so we're halfway between Philadelphia and New York City, metropolitan area, huge population. Um, that wouldn't be sustainable to them. So now we're really focusing on employees and what the staff is doing and how we keep them happy and staying here.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's something that I think is going to need to increase over the next coming years is like really putting a focus on our teams more than anything else. Because if they're happy and they understand how to do the work that they're supposed to do and understand how important it is too, and feel really appreciated by, the administrative staff, um, that's going to be really key. And then also paying them enough,
Right.
and giving them the benefits that they need to want and be able to stick around. Prices are getting more expensive, even for like just living apartment, expenses and, rent and food and everything's going up. So, yeah, it's really important to put a focus on our teams right now. I'm glad to hear you're doing that. So
Yeah, prices are going, it's insane. And before the show, Rosie was mentioning in her area, what is it, 2-bedroom apartments are going for like $2,000 a month in rent. And so that's crazy. And so we do need to raise our rates. And for anybody that's solo right now that wants to grow a team, the key is to, because, when you do step back and your team is in the field and you're in the office or whatnot, you're really non-billable anymore. And so you're losing income to invest into growing a team.
right.
And so to raise your rates up to where they need to be already. So when you start hiring or whatnot, you're not all of a sudden in a predicament where you go, oh my gosh, now I can't afford my bills or whatnot because I'm paying somebody else, not to mention paying the state.
Right.
All the taxes that the state wants, per employee. It's really incredible how much money the government takes from us. So, and then another thing is there's so much competition on the workforce out there now that it's important that when we do become a leader, that we lead in a different way, right? Not in a management way, but
in a leadership
way. And I think that a lot of house cleaning owners have come from a past where, maybe you've been waiting tables or you've worked somewhere and you've always had a manager over you. And so you kind of bring in, the management style leadership that you're used to because of your past work experiences. And so we really do need to, shift out of that and lead our teams instead of managing them.
Micromanage them. Right. Absolutely.
I definitely struggled with that at one point too.
Yes.
I mean, being in school and having to do the internship and the classes and writing the papers and stuff, there was never a time that I was like a solo cleaner. I've always had somebody helping me. But then trying to remove myself out of that micromanagement aspect when I'm at internship and the girls are running and cleaning a few houses while I'm away, it was challenging at first because, like you said, when I was serving tables in restaurants, like I kind of used that as like, there's some bosses that were great. They taught me a lot of really great things about leadership that I hold on to now. But then there was a number of bosses that I promised my team I would never treat them the way that these bosses had treated me in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that a lot of people experience that, and it's really good to hear you and others talking about how they're trying to make a change in that way. And with how skilled this trade is, we have to recognize that it's a skill, first off, to really be leaders. Because if we think that what they're doing is just checking boxes and it's menial and it doesn't take a lot of brain power or anything, we're going to more likely micromanage and not treat them with as much respect as they deserve for the work they do. And our team with Handmade, we make them go through the professional cleaning provider course. and do that first before they even get out in the field. So they already have a basic understanding of what we're aiming for, how to do it, and techniques on how to make it, go most efficiently, make each cleaning go most efficiently. So, and then we have them with our other team members that understand, they work alongside of them. And then they understand that whole feeling of what we're doing is really important, and they can pass that along to our other team members. And Kevin and I aren't even there, and it's happening and it's working, and it's really incredible to see. So,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we actually just, for the very first time, the month of May, we implemented an employee of the month, and we made it so that other technicians could vote for each other, just to kind of get everyone's like feelings towards, because I mean, our crews operate primarily solo unless it's like a huge job, right? And we kind of want to look at like, all right, which technicians are, finishing their schedules and then reaching out and seeing if others need help. Which technicians are showing up on time, which ones are wearing the proper uniform, the proper footwear, like that kind of stuff. And then we also see it through the clients as well, like which employees are treating like we're in their homes. It's a vulnerable place for them to be. And these girls are making them feel comfortable, and it's a beautiful thing, truly.
right. Rosie, that brings a question, because I definitely noticed that we have over the years noticed that within our own company that there are going to be clients that really like specific technicians, and it's equal. It just, it's not like one technician is liked by all clients.
Right.
There's, just different personalities, and that, I guess you can say, jive well with certain clients. And it really is across the board equal. And all of our technicians are loved, but they're just loved more by some clients than other ones. So
It's always fun to see that.
yeah.
Come in and,
Yeah. And wouldn't you say that's part of even the mental health aspect? There's a psychology there, and you have to be open and flexible as a leader on your team, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people that aren't in our industry, like how many moving parts there are,
Yeah.
whether that be trying to schedule certain clients with certain technicians, or,
Right.
their route optimization being like within a few minutes of the last property they were at instead of across town. Um, One of the technicians needing to pick their kids up from daycare at this time, someone
Mhm.
needing to come in late because of this. There's just it's a constant merry-go-round, a jigsaw puzzle of just trying to make sure A, the clients are happy, B, equally, the employees are also happy. We're not overworking one person more than another.
Right.
And then, yeah, like the psychology behind it being like these people are, like I said, in a vulnerable position, allowing us into their homes.
Mhm.
And I would assume that, if they don't really like click, I guess we could call it, with one of the technicians, I feel like we should be respectful of that.
Mhm.
Even though it could make scheduling a little bit more difficult,
Mhm.
it's, psychologically they're at ease, and then, they're more likely to stay on our schedule.
Mhm.
They're more likely to refer us to their friends. They're more likely to leave good Google reviews.
Mhm.
Um, there's so many moving parts.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we definitely do that too. We try to accommodate as much as possible, because it also has an impact on our team as well. If the client is expressing that they jive better with a certain crew than another crew, or a certain individual over another individual, or a lot of our older ladies really like one of our technicians and they really don't want to see anybody else. And it's like, it's not, it's not healthy for our other technicians to have to go into a place that, the person is sort of like uncomfortable with them or something. So it really goes both ways. And I think it's something that cleaning services really should take into account, and their move towards success, because it is a vulnerable place to be, like you said, and we should do our best to make people feel comfortable.
For sure. And it's kind of like what you guys said too. I mean, at one point when we first opened, you looked at cleaning services as like a luxury, right? I think COVID did a psychological thing to people where they realized how precious time is, how much time they don't get to spend with their families when they're spending the entire weekend cleaning their homes. So now it kind of like the script flipped a little bit. Now people are they want their time back. So as house cleaners, we're able to provide that for them. And if we're giving them their time back, that also gives them peace of mind. It lessens their anxiety. We're coming in. I would assume, I think that we're maybe closer to the higher end, but like modest rates, like making it worth their while, because you really can't put a price tag on your time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say also that cleaning takes a lot of mental energy, a lot of focus, like while you're doing it. And so it takes away from like everything else they're trying to work on. Let's say that they own businesses just like us. And they just taking the day to focus all their energy on cleaning will drain them for the coming week. They won't have had a break. And so it is offering them time, but it's allowing them like mental freedom. They're not like shackled to the mentally tasking labor of cleaning. And then a lot of people don't know how to get things off. I mean, that's another thing. Like they don't know how to clean. They honestly don't. And they could.
Yeah, especially the younger generations now,
Yeah.
the millennials. We've heard from so many people. Hey, a lot of these millennials don't even own a vacuum. They don't own
Right.
a lawnmower. Why? Because
Have you heard that,
they're
Rosie?
outsourcing cleaning. They're
I've heard it,
outsourcing
yes.
their mowing and whatnot,
Yeah.
which is wonderful for the service trades. Yeah, and they don't know how to do it, right?
Right.
And and that's a big shift from let's say the baby boomers and higher whatnot, where back in the day it was the woman's job to really like have a lot of pride in as a homemaker, like
That too.
this is my home, no one's home is cleaner than mine, and I
Yep.
work all day long cleaning it, and then teaching that skill to her daughters, because that was an invaluable skill to pass down.
Mhm.
Women started working in the workforce more, going to college or whatnot, that kind of went away. And so now there's a lot of men and women that are younger that have no idea how to clean anymore.
Interestingly enough, my mom worked weekends a lot of the time. She's a nurse. So when I was like 5, 6 years old, she used to leave me little like checklists to clean around the house while she was at work. So no, shout out to my mom. She hates cleaning, right? And when I was little, I was the cleaning person. But now I'm looking at it from a standpoint of like it's a strength. Look where we're at, right?
Right.
And just to kind of like tiptoe over what you were just saying too, usually I put my house on one of the technicians' schedules, maybe every
Mhm.
2 weeks or so. And we're in the middle of busy season. I had to clean my own house this past weekend, and yes, it is mentally taxing because it's like you go to dust your living room and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go grab the vacuum out of, the closet. But then you're like, well, the baseboards over here need to be scrubbed. And then you go over there and then you're like, oh wow, look, I want to go grab water out of the kitchen. And it's just like, no.
Yeah, it's really hard to get a groove in your own home where you have like all of your belongings or something. I don't know what it is, but you get distracted more easily when you're trying to clean your own home for sure. Yeah.
So much harder.
Yeah.
So Rosie, do you do in-person walkthrough estimates, or do you estimate over the phone, or what does your onboarding and quoting process look like?
So we use Compass Wave. It's a software that does online estimates and calculations. So I believe that the first point that it uses is the square footage of a home. And then it asks them questions about how many people live in the house, how many pets do you have, what would you grade the dust level, what would you grade the clutter level, um, do you use your kitchen every day? I think
Wow. So
that's
Is this something
pretty
that
much
all
it.
happens? Does this all happen online before you even know anything about the person? Does it live on your website or something like that?
Yeah, it lives on our website. And then also when we're like posting on social media and stuff, like we usually embed the link in there. So our office manager will either like if someone calls to get an estimate, she usually walks them through it on her end of things. And then we get a estimate like breakdown, like in a PDF form sent to our email address. Sometimes we get some quotes from like New Hampshire or Rhode Island, and I'm not really sure how or why they end up there, but there's kind of like a funneling process, like especially with the outskirts around here. The Lehigh Valley, like I said, is very dense in population. So if someone lives, 45 minutes away, maybe one day, but not now. But overall, like there's pockets in this area, like it's broken into like 5 different cities. So we try to keep all of them together on the same days at the same times, but essentially, yeah, it's an online process.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of estimates and walkthroughs. Like at one point it was like 20 a week back in 2020. And then A, you're not getting all of those jobs. B, you're not getting all of those jobs. It's you're wasting your time. And like I said, time is precious. So
Mhm.
driving around and walking through houses and then not really having any return on that investment it wasn't feasible for us.
Right. It can be really frustrating. I know, um, right before we stopped doing in-home estimates, Kevin was sometimes doing like 8 estimates a day, and it was really taxing, like, on our family too, and our
Yeah,
business, and it's like, are we gonna pay someone to do this when a lot of these people are just price shopping? And
right,
so
exactly.
now, yeah, the way we have it set up is a similar process to what you're talking about, but it's one that we created, and it does collect a bunch of information from them. They send pictures. It's all through, like, a HIPAA compliant system, and we will occasionally go out, like send some of our lead techs out to do estimates, but we do it with a fee of $50. And
Okay.
so that's how we do it now, because it's like that's our time. We have to pay someone to go out there and spend time with you and look around. And but anyway, I think a lot of people have been very receptive to the online estimating, because then they don't have to block out time to walk somebody through. They can just have it set up,
Right.
and then and then have the
And we
crew.
also, if they do hire us, we'll also put that $50 fee. We'll deduct that from the overhaul initial cleaning.
Their
We'll
initial
take that
cleaning,
off.
yeah.
And so, and I really like how how we explain it to people, because a lot of the older folks or whatnot, they're like, why can't you get somebody over here? Why can't you, come to our house or whatnot? We explain to them, sure, we could do that. It's going
Right.
to cost a little bit of money. And the reason why we don't typically do this anymore is because there's expenses there, right? And the business owner is just usually doing it themselves or whatnot. But when you're paying somebody, and then that overhead has to, and this, how do we tell them? We say that goes back onto our regular clients.
It
And
goes
so
back
you're not
onto
a
our
regular client right now, but we have lots of regular clients, and then we have to make our regular clients pay for somebody to drive around
and give you an
visit with
estimate.
people all day
Yeah.
long or whatnot. And then they go, oh, I really appreciate that. So they're really receptive.
Yeah.
Another good thing is, back to the millennials now, is that a lot of these millennials, like they're literally, they got watches on and everything, and their watch is telling them like, your next appointment starts in 5 minutes, and then your next up, and they're like on 30-minute blocks, right? So they're like
Right.
on 30-minute blocks all day long, and they, they're looking around at their home. It's getting dirty. They're working from home, and so they definitely need a cleaning service, but they don't have time to have 5 different cleaning services come over, and they literally want to just book it as quickly as possible without even talking to anybody on the phone.
A lot of
And if
times,
they can
yeah.
just text message or do something, virtually or whatnot, they're all about it. And so, because they're literally living off of a schedule.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if your program collects pictures, Rosie, but I know that that's something that we do, and it's helped our team tremendously, because we're able to share those pictures with them before they even go to the job. And then they feel like they've already kind of worked through like maybe where to start and like what they're up against. And they're not just walking in sight unseen for them, you know? And yeah, so
Funny story, actually. I was on vacation 2 weeks ago, and our management chat, we booked like a last minute initial clean on like a Friday afternoon for one of our techs, and the person lied on the estimate. There was no proof of pictures, and this story, I promise there's a point. Um, there was no pictures sent, and they lied on their estimate, and they said that there was no clutter and no dust. And some of the pictures coming in from our technician about like you saw like 10 disposable coffee cups on a windowsill. Like the house was in really bad shape. And essentially, like it kind of looked like something that would probably merit a biohazard type clean.
mhm,
And we don't specialize in those. I like to
mhm.
refer those out just because I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not.
Right.
Um, but essentially, like you're looking at this on paper and it's, on the modestly lower end price wise, but like then you see these pictures and you're like, this is easily over $1,000.
Right.
But again, we're not biohazard specialists, and I'm not going to pretend to be. So we had to, regretfully part. I'm sorry, this is the referral. This is the company that we provide for these types of cleanings, but unfortunately, this is way out of our scope. So I was actually talking to the management team about how we might need to find a software system that does collect pictures
Yeah.
for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, and just so you know, just recently we did have somebody send pictures, but they were still dishonest because they sent pictures from like a year before, like right before, I guess right after
Right
he
when they
moved
moved
into,
in.
yeah, right when they moved in. But yeah, it was biohazard, and so we had to leave. But yeah, so people are gonna lie sometimes, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that often.
No,
Um,
thankfully.
yeah, thankfully, right? Absolutely. So, Rosie, I really want to dive into a little bit more on like how you're utilizing your mental health education with the industry that we're in, and maybe I don't know, just hear your thoughts and how important you think it is to have a good understanding for that aspect of what we do and how you implement it. So,
I'll start going. Here we
yeah.
go. Um, so we obviously we use it as a niche in our area. There's not really, I mean, there around here, cleaning services are a dime a dozen at this point. Since we've opened in 2016, there's probably 15 people that I know that have started cleaning businesses since then. So what sets us apart from other people, I would say, is the fact that we really hone in on that mental health aspect. So I just did a presentation on this like 2 months ago where, it's proven scientifically that, if your house and your environment is tidy and clean, you have lower levels of anxiety, lower levels of depression.
Mhm.
Um, Clutter wise, if you're looking at clutter, clutter can impact like your mental health, and it also like reduces your ability to like focus appropriately. And since COVID has occurred, a lot of people are working from home now. So, um, how can you work in your home office if it looks like a bomb went off? How are you going to be productive if your office looks like a bomb went off?
Right.
Um, Not only that, with the anxiety piece, anxiety increases levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So if you're looking around at your house and you're seeing, dust here and, dishes overflowing in the sink and the kids are running around and there's just like overstimulation, that's also going to, kind of add into the anxiety piece. So, when we're using this through our website and like with like the technicians in the homes and even our office manager, we just like really want the client to have peace of mind utilizing our services. And that peace of mind comes from, being reliable, being on time, showing up when we say we're going to do something, doing it as agreed upon, and going above and beyond to make the homeowner happy. And then on top of that, like I said, with the time piece, like, time is very precious for people. If we could provide anybody with time, we're doing them a huge service. So if people have time and their space is tidy, and that actually leads into the fact that people have it's easier for people to relax when their houses are clean and like kept up with. So then if you're looking at it from a standpoint of like your bedroom per se, like if your bedroom's clean and it's like this calming environment, you'll sleep better at night. And when you sleep better at night, you're more productive and you're in a better mood the next day, right? Um, I like to ask people too, like, making your bed every morning, like that's that one thing that you can do every day that makes you feel like you've accomplished something. But then also, it's scientifically proven that when you're like pulling your sheets down and everything at the end of the day and getting into bed, you sleep better because your bed was made.
Right.
Um, so I also read an article about bed sheets and how often you're supposed to like change them and how that contributes to like a good night's sleep. Because, there's some people out there that won't change their sheets for like 2, 3 months at a time ish, give or take. Um, and our bodies shed like 20 million skin cells a night or something like that.
Whoa.
So we really try to push like linen changes on our clients as well, just because like you don't want to be sleeping in dead skin cells. So,
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is.
but then on top of that, though, I mean, if you are kind of having that peace of mind that, hey, Hocus Pocus Cleaning they changed my sheets today. I'm going to sleep better tonight and I'm going to, wake up and have like a pep in my step tomorrow morning because I have clean sheets and my bed was made and my bedroom is nice and tidy. And then like I think I said this a few minutes ago, but like the clutter aspect, like there's the home office part, but then on the other side of that, clutter actually can increase like your suicidality, where like if you already are depressed, and you're having like suicidal ideations, having like this like I feel like I'm drowning type thing with the clutter can actually add that. It could also like increase like your risk of engaging in like risky behaviors. So there's like so many different pieces of like a clean house that affect people and they have no idea really. And then on top of that too, with the cleaning technicians, I was my final project for grad school was on anxiety and mindfulness. So instead of um, popping a Xanax or drinking wine or smoking
Right.
weed or whatever you're doing, um, there's things that you can do for yourself to decrease your anxiety naturally. Whether that be meditation or deep breathing exercises or whatever. Um, but with the technicians, you're putting soap on a sponge. You're going in circular motions to, clean a dish or scrub someone's, shower or whatever. So it's really connecting the mind to the body. And then that actually alleviates their anxiety levels to a degree as well. A lot of our technicians are under the age of 25, and I think that Gen Z, I think that they have higher rates of anxiety based on like social media and
Yeah.
Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok and all of this stuff
Yeah.
where like they have higher rates of anxiety. So if we're not only helping the clients with their mental health, but then the technicians that suffer from anxiety are also able to use mindfulness based practices at work, it's also helping them as well.
I love those points. Yeah, that is really great. Yeah.
That was really great. Great points. But I got to ask, it just triggered me when you were talking about your company. So Hocus Pocus, how did you come up with y'all's business name?
I started the business at the end of September and I was watching Hocus Pocus on Disney for the first time that season. And um, I mean, hopefully, I've thought about like what it would take to franchise, but then I was like, is Disney going to come after us if we use their name? Because
Probably.
Disney owns everything these days. So,
Well, I don't even know what Hocus Pocus means, but I think it's been around for a while. Disney stole it, not you.
I
Right,
think it's easily
essentially.
brandable too in your local area. So
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus is kind of, something like,
People have been
Disney. And
hearing,
so
yeah.
it's easy to remember. Cool.
It's cool too because it's like our logo and our branding is like kind of based on like Bewitched on TV Land. But then like Hocus Pocus, like for my generation, is like the witches on Disney. So the amount of people that call and just say, like, I really love your logo, I really love the name, like that's why we're, choosing you guys over, this person's cleaning service or, like there's some type of creativity to our name and our branding, and I think that it's actually really helped a lot with the success of where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if anybody wants to really like brand in their area or maybe possibly franchise or have corporate locations eventually, um, choosing a name that isn't your name, but choosing like a brandable name that people will remember and that speaks to what you do. I think that that's number one. That's a really big key to developing trust and just what do you call it? I guess like superiority in a way because it's like you're not just naming it after yourself. And I know that a
Right.
lot of people do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you want to stay small. But
Right.
yeah, definitely.
So do y'all use any other systems to run and manage your business other than, and I missed the name of it, the name of that estimating system that you use
Oh,
on your
Compass
website?
Wave, Compass
Compass Wave.
Wave. I wrote it down. Yeah.
Yeah, we use Compass Wave for our estimating software. We use Jobber for our CRM. I have been looking into Made Central as well, just because it generates better reports based on like tracking your KPIs and the numbers and stuff. Because I mean, I think that a lot of what I'm learning is when the numbers tell you a story, right? And Jobber, love Jobber. It does a lot. We went through a lot of CRMs before we landed on Jobber, and a lot of the other ones I was really, really unhappy with. So Jobber's been great, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out if it would be smarter to switch to a more um, invasive software like Made Central prior to gaining and gaining and gaining and continuing to build. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's
We
got their own style and you got to figure out what works best for you. So, yeah, we're not big on KPIs with people. We like to, you know, have good team players on our team that do a great job and be able to stand behind them and that are dependable, and that's what we got. So, you know,
Yeah, we don't even use QuickBooks anymore. Numbers, both Grace and I
That's another one we use.
we're not people. We hand everything to the accountant at the end of the year. We have a CPA, and they say, go do this for y'all's bank records. We do it. We hand it to them, and they're excellent. And so
yeah, they are.
back when we were over a decade ago, when we were starting Handmade and Walla Walla, we had Jobber and everything integrated with QuickBooks, and there was P&L reports and everything. And I remember
looking at
like
everything
we're looking
all
at
the
every number. We're like, oh shit, like we're gonna go down because we went down.
or now we're really growing like
Right.
yeah, and it was
So,
like a
like,
roller coaster, you
Focusing
know.
on those reports actually hindered us from being able to tap into our full potential because we were just
Really?
looking at numbers, and the numbers were really driving us. And so that led us also to kind of like a more management thing where it's like,
We had a lot
oh,
of
your
unhappy
KPIs are down, and
employees.
so
Yeah.
we need to write this little form up now, like look what this says. And the employees were like, and they'd walk out the office because their KPIs were down and whatnot. And so we completely removed ourselves from any real numbers reporting, and our businesses have
Have
certainly
done a lot better.
So just
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out there because I know that, there's a lot of coaches in and out of the industry, and you hear all the time that you got to know what your numbers are, all of them, and everything. And so we're just here to tell you that for us, and everybody's
Just
different,
a general idea.
because some people are number people and they're engineers, and they're dreaming about numbers. We ain't like that. And so don't feel like you got to do a certain thing because somebody's telling you that you need to do it. You
Sure.
need to do what's best for you. And for Grace and I, it was holding us back to do all the KPI and all the number stuff. And
Yeah.
we've done real well through it.
Yeah. And I think everybody's different though. And you need to be able to find what works best for your mind. And then also recognize that with the employees and with your business, with your clients, you're dealing with people, not numbers. And so we just got to keep our heads straight about that. If that's our style of doing things, at least keep that in mind throughout it. So, yeah.
So would you guys say that kind of putting that to the side has boosted your mental health?
Yes.
Oh, tremendously.
Tremendously.
It let
Yes.
us become more creative and like lead teams instead of managing teams. And when you're looking at graphs and numbers, on QuickBooks, people, we want your profit and loss report, but why even, I mean, you know what your numbers are. It's like, when you're doing good, when you need to invest in more marketing and run more ads, when it's time to, okay, we need to bring on somebody else to our team and whatnot. When you bring someone on, they're not a good fit, that right away. And then you want to part ways quick, instead of just hanging on and wasting time and whatnot. And so, all these things. And the more you're in the business, the more it becomes more natural to
Yeah,
you.
more
So,
natural. Yeah, I think it does take experience and really finding your groove.
right. Profit and loss reports and whatnot are for like, if you got to answer to a board, right? And you're the CEO, you're the president or whatnot, and there's going to be your quarterly meeting and you're going to go in there and you're going to put up your P&L reports. And then you're going to have somebody over you saying, hey, Grace, your numbers, what's going on with your team and this and that. And so that's kind of what P&L reports are and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's our
And we
input on
do,
it.
yeah, and we do look at our profit and loss like maybe monthly, but
Sure.
we're not hung up on it. It's like, and we can also see the numbers in the bank account. We
Right.
can see that we're profiting more, and so is our team profiting more this year than we were last year. And so that's the kind of stuff that matters. But hanging on to every number can become dangerous, I guess is what we're saying. If people get caught there, it might be good at first when you're first starting out to kind of get to know like how to see things, like where are the biggest expenses coming from and all of that. But over time, like you'll get the hang of it and you don't have to answer to those boards anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, the QuickBooks graphs kind of irritate me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
QuickBooks. Yeah.
Do
But like you
do
guys said
any,
though, like I mean, in terms of, I'm sorry, I think I
No,
No,
cut
go
go
you
ahead.
off.
ahead. Go
Were you
ahead.
saying something? Okay, I was just gonna say, like in terms of the whole like employee retention and like really focusing on the team and being creative, it's like, I mean, I don't. Do you guys come up with like monthly goals where it's like, all right, in terms of the team, we're gonna start focusing on this month, and then maybe next month we'll start working on this, and kind of splitting it up, like employees, we're going to do this, clients, we're going to start doing this, marketing, we're going to do this, or whatever the case may be. But I do appreciate being able to be creative with what we do with the team as well, just because, like, I used to say, like, up until when I graduated, like, I by trade, not a business owner at all. I'm a mental health therapist, so I could really empathize with people. But then it also was a thing at the beginning where it was almost to a fault, like, being
Mhm.
too understanding as a boss. And, we had an employee once that within 6 months had called off 30 days in 6 months. And like, I went back and looked at it and I was like, too understanding of a boss here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so I think boundaries for ourselves as the people that run the companies are also very, very important. Instead of holding on and seeing the potential, like the person kind of needs to show that they are here for the potential.
Right. Yeah. One thing that we have implemented with our company is a code of ethics. And I think I put it in the member resources a few months ago. You might want to check it out. It holds all of the team accountable and it kind of spells out what our goal is as a team. And basically what you're describing is those people that like don't show up and aren't um maybe as productive, they're not catching on, maybe they're causing drama even, which can be hard to write every little law about someone causing drama, right? Because some
Right.
people are really good at it and they seem like
Yeah.
really great people, but they're causing like mayhem. So it's like in our code of ethics that like fireable offenses, one of them is causing tension and like instigating drama on the team. And if you're caught doing that, it's fireable. Like you will be fired if you are doing that. And that was something that we noticed was something that we felt like we couldn't fire them over. When we were first starting out, we felt like we had to give them warning after warning after warning, and maybe listen to all these sides. But it's like after you get experience, you can see right through it, man, and they're out. So yeah,
We don't have time for that, right? Like, we're here to have
right,
fun,
yeah,
and, we're still learning every day as the owners,
right,
and it's just it's kinda defeatist almost, you know what I mean?
right,
Yeah, absolutely. And not only do we not have time for that, but our team doesn't have time for it because the longer that poison dwells amongst the team, unbeknownst to the owners, oftentimes it's happening and it really has a significant effect on everybody's mental and emotional health because they dread going to work and they're like, oh God, I got to work with this person today on job or
right.
whatnot. And so, you
Or
know,
these girls are saying this about me, and then people are gossiping. So that's
yeah,
something that's eliminated on like our team. But it took us years to get to that point where it's eliminated. And I know it's not coming back because our team is so strong, like, and they all look out for each other. And so if somebody comes on that's poisonous, it's like they're gonna all the team's gonna know, and then that person's gonna be gone within a few weeks.
yep.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I reached out to Kevin back in November of last year, about a particular situation where there was, like, toxic poison on my team, and,
Wow.
I'm really thankful for the experience, as awful as it was
Mhm.
at the time, just because, like, now, like, the girls that did band together during that, like, it's like a well-oiled machine at this point. Like,
Right.
basically, we looked at, like, this negative experience and we shifted it into a positive one, and, like, I couldn't be happier, because at one point, it was, like, almost depressing running a cleaning company because if you
Mhm.
have no idea what you're doing and the systems aren't in place and the right people aren't in place to operate those systems, it becomes very stressful. But like for the past like 4 months now, it's just been fun. Like it's been a blast.
Good.
um,
Yay.
yeah, thankfully, because I
Yeah.
don't know how much longer we would have hung on for if it didn't kind of flip. But again, though, that takes a lot of hard work. So
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do have to go through it, and sometimes like we experienced that too, Rosie, where it's like we had certain poison on our team, and we didn't realize that they were poison until we realized it. And then once we let them go, it's like the whole team like
ah,
kind of came together. Yes, a big deep breath. Then we started hearing more from the team about things that she had been doing. And we were like shocked. And at that point, we had a different administrative like assistant, and so there was just a lot of things not getting to us, um,
right,
and so I think it helps the team come together more to see the owners stand up and like stand against the person that's causing the problem and encourage them by taking that action and getting rid of even. I mean, this particular person was a great cleaner and very dependable.
they
So
usually are, right?
yeah. Very dependable, great cleaner, but was not being nice to people. So that
Right.
not working really as a team, you could say. So that's really important.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Let's shift gears. We're running. We're down to 9 minutes left of today's show. Let's talk about revenue growth, Rosie. What kind of marketing and advertising do y'all do right now to bring in new clients? And then also, what are your do you have any plans in the future to try something new or shift gears there?
Yeah, so we're obviously listed on Google. We're very active on Google. The girls actually get a bonus every time that a client leaves a 5-star review for them on Google. So it kind of incentivizes the team to ask their regular clients to leave them. And I've learned that, you know, when you're active with the reviews on Google, your SEO goes up, right?
Right.
So, I mean, we're rated like 4.9 and we have like 150 something reviews, which I think is great. So that's one outlet that we utilize. And then I actually just outsourced our social media to a like social media digital marketing company, because I wasn't posting regularly enough, just because it always kind of went on the back burner.
Right.
And I've always like really enjoyed creating the graphics and stuff for Instagram and all of that. But in terms of time, I don't have all the time in the world to do those things. And frankly, since they took over back in March, like it actually looks like a cleaning Instagram. It's not just like pictures of roses and saying like book a cleaning for Valentine's Day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So are you seeing any increase of call volume or whatnot since you hired them?
Yeah, actually, I mean, well, I was actually looking, we're going to start talking about charts again. The analytics through Facebook and Instagram, since it's all grouped together now, the graph from March till now is like, here's before March, this is March. So it's like this
Awesome.
steady.
Social media reach?
Yeah. And I think that I didn't really know much about like the targeted ad sponsorship stuff. So like analyzing previous posts and seeing that, you know, 80% of the people that looked at this post were women. So, hey, maybe this next post that we're boosting should be aimed at women because mostly women are looking at this post. You know what I mean? I don't know how to do all of that, and I don't really know how to analyze all of that. So I'm thankful that they've taken it over. And I think they post like 2 or 3 times a week, every week. And I have more freedom of time because, again, time is precious.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in case somebody watching or watching a replay is thinking about doing the same thing, how much does that cost you to have somebody do that service for you, that social media work?
It's $600 a month, and essentially they do have like videography equipment and photography equipment as well. And if you know, we do like annual team photos in September, right around our anniversary. When you kind of combine the packages, you get like discounted, you know, pictures, or if you wanted to create a commercial of sorts or something like that, like you get a lower price on that kind of stuff.
Very
Cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great investment
Mhm.
for sure. All right.
So
Well,
last question, and this is, we've got folks from, different parts of their journey that are watching right now and that will be listening to the podcast show. What would you let's focus on the folks that are more of like in a solo spot right now, maybe building the route, but they want to grow a cleaning team. That is their end goal. What would you say to that person that's thinking, can I even do this? Or like, how am I going to even get through this or whatnot? And am I even good enough? Or what do I need to know to get over this next mountain? And I know going from solo to a team is a big mountain. It's one of the biggest mountains actually that you'll climb. And once you make it over that point or whatnot, there's more mountains or whatnot. It seems like they get a little bit easier in their way. So what advice would you give to that person?
The biggest piece of advice that I banged my head off the ground with over and over and over again, like I knew what the result would be, but I would do it anyway, is don't hire friends and family. Like from the get-go, don't do it. I've lost a lot of friendships over the years because it seems as though like, as expected, like special treatment because we were friends or, family prior to them
right.
working here, or they expected me to, they don't get disciplined if they're calling off at the last minute. The expectations were different. Right now, like everybody on the team we've hired, they weren't people I knew prior to, leading them. Right.
Mhm.
So I learned over and over and over again. And then, like I said, that situation back in November, it's like, yeah, no, never again. I think that it also like stunted my growth like really badly. For a long time, I think we could have been a lot further than we are right now if I would have gotten that in the beginning as opposed to, a few months ago.
Right. I think that's a really great piece of advice, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that. So, yeah, there's a lot of drama that can come in with hiring family and friends, and I know that there can also be jealousy there, because they feel like, well, I've helped you grow this business, so this business belongs to me too, right? I wish this was my business and not Rosie's. And they don't know how much you've done to like build the clientele and to, you know, find the systems that work and make the big decisions. Like they don't know how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into that because they're just out helping you clean. Would you say that's something that also occurred?
Yes. Like just for an example, like I had someone that was a technician. They came into an office management position last year. And they put their notice in. They said that they wanted to do like the stay-at-home mom thing. It turns out that they hadn't. They were lying and they were leaving, but they didn't want to tell me for some reason. So I was going on vacation and the agreement was when I got back from vacation, it would be their last day. So essentially they wouldn't get their PTO because they weren't in that position for a year. They would have been quitting right beforehand. So I said like, hey, I'm going on vacation. I'd be more than happy to pay you this vacation pay despite the fact that it hasn't been a year if, A, B, C, and D are all running smoothly while I'm away.
Right.
Come home and learn that, there was client text messages that weren't answered for over a month. A
Right.
few of them could have been like legal, like text leaving houses unlocked and the homeowner reaching out and saying, hey, why was my door unlocked? Like really serious things. So,
Right.
just to be nice, I still gave this person like 50% of their vacation pay. And next thing you know, like I'm like blocked on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm
Wow.
like, were we friends to begin with? Probably not. No,
Mhm.
no. And that's just one example. But yeah, I mean, I could go on for days about,
Mhm.
I love my little sister to death, but she's worked for me 4 or 5 times at this point. Like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I think there's like a certain level of respect that has to come with like not knowing your boss prior to them being your boss. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Absolutely. I know Kevin and I experienced that with people that we put in charge. And another thing is really having that leadership position and having confidence in yourself and not allowing your employees to feel more important than you or like, as you're trying to build their confidence, it's really important for you to maintain those boundaries of we are the leaders of this and you do need to respect what we, task you to do um and you can't walk on us because I know the exact same thing has happened to Kevin and I
Yep.
in the past, like important messages that certain people were responsible for completely getting missed
Just
and
disregarded.
and
Like
yeah,
that's just not.
disregarded and among other things that were just really not good and that hurt our business. And so yeah, stay away from making your employees really your friend and in hiring employees
Yep.
that are your friends.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
great advice. And Rosie Young with Hocus Pocus Cleaning out of Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for joining us on the Not Just a Cleaning Lady podcast show today. It was nice to get to know you and your business better. And we hope that, congratulations on your continued growth and
Yeah.
success in your
You too,
business.
guys.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
No,
you.
it's great to meet you guys as well. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank
I
you so much for
appreciate it.
having
Thank
me.
you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.